Top five, top five, top five.
Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? The NFL offseason is over. The draft is in the books. The schedule is made, which means the Rookie of the Year candidates are on the horizon and end the countdown today.
What's up, PSO family? We're about to break down the top 5 Rookie of the Year candidates. The NFL season's coming. Training camp's on the way. OTA's on the way. We're really about to get this shit starting going.
That's right. So we're going to start out with the Rookie of the Year candidates. These guys could have been Heisman candidates. They could have gone off in college. Maybe they're just in a great position to succeed right out the gate in 2023.
100% position matters, but what matters more is you hitting that like button and smashing that subscribe, because we're coming back every week with some fire.
And before we get into the countdown, go check out Fan Gear Nation for some great jerseys.
Not only do they got jerseys, but they got canvases for the wall, shirts, sweatshirts, and all of this for the low. But don't worry, we still got y'all with a discount code.
That's right. This is PSO's official merchandise partner, so you can use code PSO15 for 15% off your first order. So go type in fangearnation.com while those low prices are still available. Support your favorite squad and save a good amount of money while doing it.
And now, back to the countdown.
So, getting into the countdown, starting out with number 5, we have the guy with the most potential on this list in Anthony Richardson. Now, he might have some struggles to start out, but the ceiling's pretty fucking high. This guy can do anything you want a quarterback to do on the football field. We're seeing guys who look like him, who play like him, having a lot of success in the NFL. Justin Fields, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, guys who can run, guys who can throw, Josh Allen. A lot of potential in Anthony Richardson with the arm, with the legs. His play style can bring a lot to an offense, and the Colts are definitely a team that needs it. And he's going to start out right out the gate with a guy like Josh Downs, who they picked in that rookie class to come alongside him, coming with Michael Pittman. I have a great backfield with Jonathan Taylor back there, so a lot of potential there, but it's just going to be, how is he able to adjust to the NFL right away?
Yeah, and Justin Fields is a great example. A lot of people counted Justin Fields out after his rookie year, and you saw the way he progressed into the second year. And a lot of rookie quarterbacks need that, especially the running ones, because some of them don't see the field as well. They've always relied on the athleticism to get them by. And newsflash, this is the NFL. We got a lot of people that got the same athleticism, a lot of people that are reading defenses, a lot of defenses that are scheming and switching it up on these quarterbacks to make it tough on them. But yeah, Anthony Richardson's potential through the fucking roof. The way he can move at his size is undeniable. It's crazy. It's Cam Newton-like. And his arm way better than Cam Newton's, but he has a rocket of an arm, arguably one of the best arms in this draft.
For sure.
And just thinking about him in that backfield with Jonathan Taylor is a scary sight. They got 3 decent tight ends as well, so they got some guys that can really block and expand that run game. They got a solid offensive line across the board. So his legs could be a massive part of the Colts this year, especially alongside Jonathan Taylor. So we're gonna see how they use his legs. But when you think about his receiving staff, not looking very well. They obviously got Pittman. They got the receiver last year in the second round, Alec Pierce. They drafted Josh Downs in the first round. We see the chemistry that they have, seen plenty of videos. Oh, in the second round. They drafted Josh Downs in the second round. And we see the chemistry that they're having on early on. So, they got some good things on offense that he can maybe transition into in the passing game, but it's not looking as bright as some of the other quarterbacks on this list.
Yeah, and one thing that we've seen be a theme in the Rookie of the Year competition is how are you able to elevate your team? Can you bring your team to the playoffs? Can you lead the guys around them? And so Anthony Richardson has an opportunity to do that, but in that vaunted AFC, that's going to be real tough. But that might not be a problem for a guy at number 4 for the Minnesota Vikings, a team coming off the playoffs, and Jordan Addison, the receiver.
Jordan Addison, one of the smoothest route runners in the NFL, coming right off the back. Yes, I'm saying that already. You turn his college tape on, you see all the explosive ways that he gets open, the crazy movements, the crazy jiggle. He really has the whole package as a receiver. Obviously not the biggest guy, got a slender frame like a lot of the other receivers in this first round. But at the end of the day, he's working alongside Justin Jefferson, and the things that he's going to learn from him.
No better person.
Yeah, no better person. The smoothness of Justin Jefferson's game is going to be a big help to Addison's transition to the NFL. And obviously the Vikings do have some big weapons on offense. We'll see if the running back is there. We'll see if Dalvin Cook is still there when the season comes along. What do you think about the wide receiver room? Like I said, Jettas. KJ has played really well. KJ Osborne's played really well over the last couple years. Has been a true surprise in Minnesota. And then they had that big acquisition from the offseason last year, TJ Hawkinson, and that interdivision trade with the Detroit Lions, which is always a surprise, especially including an all-pro player. But the way that the Vikings like to get after it, the way that Kirk Cousins likes to air the ball out, the way that Kevin O'Connell likes to call his plays, it's going to be interesting to see how many touches he gets early on in his career. And if they're really getting the ball out to him quick, he can make a lot of big plays to start off his tenure in Minnesota. And we know Minnesota has had a lot of great receivers, from Chris Carter, from Randy Moss. They've done a really good job of drafting receivers, and obviously right there, Randy Moss could be Justin Jefferson. So we'll see what Jordan Addison can transition to as well.
Yeah, we'll see a lot of big shoes to fill there, and we'll see if he can live up to that kind of potential. But I think the biggest reason why Jordan Addison makes this list is because you just go back a few years ago, Justin Jefferson was in a very similar position, you know, coming out with a lot of prospect pedigree. You saw the success he had at LSU. You saw the route running. You saw what he brought to the table from a skills standpoint, but the opportunity was there. He had a guy named Adam Thielen in front of him, and he was able to find success right away with Kirk Cousins as his quarterback, and Jordan Addison could be the same guy with Justin Jefferson clearly going to be the #1 receiver, but maybe that's going to create opportunities for Jordan Addison to get open, to find holes in the defense, to make plays, and to find his name on that Rookie of the Year trophy at the end of the year.
I think the biggest surprise out of some of the players that the Vikings have drafted is the fact that Justin Jefferson made it to 22, and this guy's made it to the 20s as well. So, I mean, they got...
Right after Jalen Reagor.
Right after Jalen Reagor. So they got 2 all-pro caliber receivers in the 20s. We'll see what Addison can turn into, but the sky's looking like the limit for the youngin out of USC and Pittsburgh.
Absolutely. And at number 3, we got a running back for Atlanta out of Texas, Bijan Robinson. This guy might be able to do it all on the gridiron, Brandon. This man is a freak of nature at the running back position. We haven't seen anyone like him since Saquon Barkley, just an all-around threat out of the backfield. He can catch some passes. He can block. He can bulldoze people. He can get outside. He can use elusiveness. There's really not many things that he's unable to do, and that was just in college. So it's going to be very exciting to see what he can bring to the pro level, taking his game to the next level, learning from a Rookie of the Year candidate in Tyler Algier last year. Cordarrelle Patterson, obviously a great veteran they have in Atlanta, so that's kind of something going against them, is just the competition. We're talking about Bijan Robinson. This is a generational talent. He could take the reins right away, and that's a team that's not likely going to pass the ball much. With Desmond Ridder, with that receiving core, they're not looking to throw 20-yard bombs, move the chains by passing. No. They're trying to run it down your fucking throat, and they got the guy to do it with Bijan Robinson.
Yeah, and Arthur Smith was the offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans.
Great point.
And last thing I remember, the Titans run the ball more than anybody in the league, a.k.a. Derrick Henry. So even though everybody was surprised that they drafted Bijan Robinson in the top 10, as a matter of fact, the top 8, which is very rare in today's NFL, especially since they had Algier, who went for 1,000 as a rookie last year. Cordarrelle Patterson came back from injury and still balled as everybody expected. But they still went out and got Bijan Robinson. And another reason why, but a lot of things that you heard about Bijan Robinson in the draft process, is how he can be as a receiver out of the backfield. And when you look at this Falcons receiving core, it's not very good at all. Obviously, they got the first-round pick from last year out of USC, wide receiver number 5. Can't even remember his fucking name right now. Drake London. They got Kyle Pitts, who they're going to move out wide a little bit more now, since they traded for Jonnu Smith, who also played with Arthur Smith in Tennessee.
Right.
So, I mean, they're going to really think about moving Bijan Robinson out, moving him around a little bit, him and Cordarrelle Patterson. So I love that 3-headed monster they have at running back. The offensive line is very stout across the board. Interesting things that they'll be able to do in Atlanta next year, especially in a suspect division in the NFC South, which is by far the worst division in football. And like you said earlier in the video, Rob, it really matters how well your team plays throughout the year when it comes to winning Rookie of the Year. And if Bijan Robinson is able to put up 1,200 yards, catch 500, or go for 500 receiving yards as well, 8 touchdowns, I mean, it's going to be pretty hard to deny him as a running back, despite the quarterbacks that went in the top 5 of this draft.
Yeah, he's one of those players that could put the team on his back into the playoffs. Just like potentially a number 2, although the AFC is going to be a lot tougher for C.J. Stroud for the Houston Texans, Brandon.
Yeah, I mean, C.J. Stroud, there was so much talks about him sliding in the draft, but really back in everybody's mind, was C.J. Stroud really going to slide past the Texans? Were they really going to go DN with number 2?
Right, all those reports.
Yeah. But obviously they thought about it because they came back at 3 and got Will. But at the end of the day, C.J. Stroud has the arm, the moxie. He obviously has the running ability like we saw against Georgia in the biggest stage. He can kind of do it all. Unfortunately for C.J. Stroud, he does not have the best receiving core. They do have some prospects. Obviously, John Mechie missed last year, had cancer. Nico Collins wound up being a decent receiver. Could be a solid number 3, number 4. Then they went out and got the well-traveled Robert Woods.
Right.
And then they have Noah Brown, who's shown big flashes in Dallas at points in his career. But I mean, the tight end room is all right. They went out and got the tight end room's decent now.
Well, they added Dalton Schultz.
They added Dalton Schultz, exactly. So Dalton Schultz is a big receiving tight end, and he has some solid weapons across the board. Now that you think about it, Dameon Pierce at running back. They went and got Devin Singletary from Buffalo, so he has some solid options. But at the end of the day, the Texans are not going to be a good team, especially in the AFC. Even though they're in the worst division in the AFC, he still has a lot of catching up to do to some of the other teams and other players that are on this list.
Yeah, that's going to be a big thing that's going to go against C.J. Stroud, is just the team aspect of things. Like, if you want to win Rookie of the Year at the quarterback position, you got to win at least 8 games. You got to at least be a playoff contender. Don't think many people are expecting the Houston Texans to be that this year, although that division might give them 4 free wins against the Titans and the Colts. But when you think about C.J. Stroud, in college, you saw so much potential, but you didn't see much consistency. And in that game against Georgia, you saw him really put it all together. You saw the potential. You saw the mobility. You saw all the things that he could bring to the table. And it makes you think, was he just not showing his full arsenal of skills against, college teams in the regular season that he knew Ohio State could probably take care of without him playing at his A game and with millions of dollars waiting for him at the NFL? Now we don't have that problem. Now there's nothing holding him back. He might just unleash all of that potential right out of the gate in his first year. And so it could be interesting to see if C.J. Stroud's really able to put it together right out of the gate. Yeah,
and all we can go off is college tape and his potential. At the end of the day, Ohio State has been wide receiver U alongside LSU and some other colleges. And you think about some of the receivers that he played with in college, Marvin Harrison, Jaxon Smith-Njigba, who went 20 in this draft. He's played with some great receivers, hella 5-star receivers, and even though he's throwing dots and great balls and all that, his receivers in Houston have a way step down in competition compared to some of the cornerbacks and secondaries they'll be playing in the NFL this season.
No doubt. And so moving on to number 1 of the offensive Rookie of the Year candidates in 2023, it's the only guy that got picked ahead of C.J. Stroud. It's Bryce Young for the Carolina Panthers, the Heisman winner for Alabama. He really was able to showcase all of his abilities at Bama, and he had a team, unlike Ohio State, that was lacking weapons and didn't have a great supporting cast around him, which is so rare to say about a team like Alabama. But Bryce Young didn't care. He was still making plays. He was still moving the chains, still finding ways to get his team to win games. And in Carolina, they actually made a lot of moves to add weapons around him, to go get guys like Miles Sanders, DJ Chark, Adam Thielen, exactly, and bringing back Terrence Marshall. So they have a solid nucleus in place that should allow him to succeed. And the biggest thing, like we said, is just, can you bring your team to a winning environment? And the Carolina Panthers are a team that won 7 games last year, and with a very suspect quarterback play, to say the least.
Head coach
got fired mid-year, and so now they're coming in with some stability at the coaching position, some stability at the quarterback position, the 2 most important aspects of an NFL team. And so they could be a surprise team in the NFC South, win that shitty division like you said, and make sure Bryce Young is a clear-cut Rookie of the Year candidate.
Yeah, we saw they traded a DJ to Chicago, but they got a DJ back in DJ Chark. Right. And obviously this team doesn't have a clear number 1 receiver. It's looking like Adam Thielen is going to be their best receiver going into the year, which is not ideal for a rookie quarterback. But at the end of the day, the receiver room is still solid. They still got Terrence Marshall. Shi Smith played a lot of ball last year. He's a solid slot receiver. We'll see how he can transition and get better. They've always had terrible tight ends in Carolina. They got Hayden Hurst, who can be a solid receiving threat at the tight end position. They got a solid group of running backs. They got Miles Sanders in the offseason. They still have Raheem Blackshear and, more importantly, Chuba Hubbard. So, I mean, they got a solid offense built around them. The offensive line has a lot of potential. Played decent last year, but they could play a lot better, especially Ekwonkwu, or wherever you say his last name.
Right, the left tackle.
The left tackle. Yeah. So, I mean, they did a good job getting Bryce Young because he has so much moxie. He can do everything in that offense, and obviously one of the smartest guys probably in the league already. So, I mean, he has a really good chance to win Rookie of the Year, especially because he is in the NFC South, and they have no comp. We're talking about the Saints. We're talking about the Falcons. We're talking about trash-ass teams. So, I mean, he really has a chance to really elevate and find his way, potentially winning an easy Rookie of the Year in his first season in Carolina.
Yeah, and let's not forget, this is a team that traded a lot of their future assets to go get a guy like Bryce Young. They did it for a reason, because they knew this guy's potential, and maybe you should go all in on putting Bryce Young as your Rookie of the Year and win a good amount of money at the end of the season.
So, yeah, I love our list. But if you love our list, too, show some love. Smash that like button. Hit that subscribe. But also, if you're not feeling it, leave your list in the top 5 in the comments. Let's see what you guys have to say. So, I mean, over and out from PSO. Looking forward to the next episode.
Absolutely. See you guys next time.
Peace.